Here's your news for March 21st, 2020. We're starting off today with news from Smackdown, as this week's edition of the Blue Brand saw another huge title match be added to the WrestleMania card. During this week's show, Paige appeared on the Titantron to confront SmackDown Women's Champion Bayley and announced that the former Hugger will be defending her title during WrestleMania weekend. Not only will Bayley be putting her title on the line, but she'll be defending against 5 other opponents, including Lacey Evans, Naomi, Tamina Snuka, Dana Brooke, and Bayley's best friend Sasha Banks. This segment was supposed to take place on last week's show, but Paige was unable to make it due to travel issues, and it's currently unclear whether the match will take place on Saturday, April 4th or Sunday, April 5th. Whatever the case may be, the odds are not in the champion's favor, and it may just be a matter of time before the longest SmackDown Women's title reign in history comes to an end. Speaking of WrestleMania, this year's show is going to be unlike any other, but despite all the changes that have been made, the WWE are trying to make the best out of a bad situation. Earlier this week, it was revealed that the show will be hosted without a live crowd, and now the company are selling WrestleMania-themed shirts with a very unique message. While fans who have attended the showcase of the Immortals can pick up an I Was There shirt, the company is now selling I Wasn't There shirts on their website. Given everything that's happening in the world right now, things are pretty scary at the moment, so it's good to see WWE being able to have a bit of fun during this unpredictable situation. We've got even more WrestleMania news for you now, as one name that fans won't see compete on either night this year is CM Punk, though that hasn't stopped fans on speculating about an in-ring return for the best in the world. Recently, Punk claimed that the WWE was, quote, begging him to return to the ring for WrestleMania, but apparently that's not the case, as PW Insider reports. There was zero communication between WWE management and CM Punk regarding such a match, or even Punk appearing at WrestleMania in any form. Nothing was offered, nothing was turned down, the conversations never took place. We all know to never say never when it comes to WWE, and there could be a time that Punk does wrestle for the company again. But we all know that it won't be happening at WrestleMania, despite what Punk claims is happening backstage. We're looking ahead to next week's Raw now, and the show must go on this unique road to WrestleMania. On this week's SmackDown, it was announced that Randy Orton will return to address the challenge laid out by Edge this week, who has called out the Viper for a last man standing match at WrestleMania. In addition to Orton, WWE Champion Brock Lesnar is also scheduled to appear on the show, as he continues to build towards his WrestleMania match with Drew McIntyre. It's likely that Lesnar will be flanked by his advocate Paul Heyman, and it'll be interesting to see how the charismatic speaker fares without a live crowd to feed off of. We've said that Lesnar is scheduled to appear on Raw next week, but this may not actually happen due to what's been going on in the world. In the wake of what's happening in the world, the Canadian Prime Minister has called for the border between Canada and the US to be temporarily closed to non-essential traffic, meaning the Beast may not be able to return to the US from his home in Saskatchewan. Lesnar isn't the only superstar who may be affected by this, as the Singh brothers, both of whom are Canadian, have expressed concern that they may be stuck and unable to make it to work. Under the ruling, the only people who are allowed to travel across the border must have what is being described as essential business, so it's unclear whether Lesnar's match against Drew McIntyre counts as that. As always, the situation is fluid, but with WrestleMania just weeks away, the WWE may need to pull another rabbit out of their hat to avoid their WWE Champion missing the biggest show of the year. We're taking a break from WWE to look at All Elite Wrestling now, as they too are being affected by what's happening around the world. This week, AEW President Tony Khan took to Twitter to announce that the Blood and Guts event, which was supposed to take place on next week's Dynamite, has been postponed until the time is right. The Blood and Guts event was supposed to include a 5-on-5 War Game style match, and while Khan confirmed that the match and show will still happen when the time is right, it just won't be next week. Instead, next week's show will see the in-ring debut of Matt Hardy, who also appeared on this week's show as the 5th and final man for the Elite. Hardy will battle fellow WWE alum Chris Jericho, and it's likely that the pair will cross paths again in the Blood and Guts match whenever it takes place. Speaking of Matt, Hardy's debut on this week's edition of Dynamite was certainly unique, as it saw his drone Vanguard 1 fly around, but it could have been much different if plans hadn't changed. Originally, this week's show was supposed to take place in Rochester, New York, though according to FCC rules, drones aren't allowed to be flown indoors, meaning he wouldn't have been able to have Vanguard 1 if the show hadn't moved. Speaking on the Talk Is Jericho podcast, Hardy addressed the original plan if the show had taken place in Rochester, saying, "We would have had done it on the outside, which would have been fine, but it's one of those things. When it was happening, I couldn't see it or I couldn't hear it. Had there been 60,000 people, somebody would have seen it prior and pointed. Then there would have been that reaction. But with nobody there, it was really strange. There was nothing until there it is." Despite the change in plans, Hardy's debut for AEW was still a highly successful moment, as Hardy is already being booked with more prominence than he had in WWE over his final year with the company. Speaking of AEW, Hardy's appearance this week wasn't the only huge debut for the company, as Brodie Lee, formerly known as WWE's Luke Harper, was revealed as the Dark Order's Exalted One. This was another big win for AEW, as Lee has a huge fan base online, and one person who caught the Exalted One's big debut is his former Wyatt family mentor, Bray Wyatt. On Twitter, the former Universal Champion commented, "It's just me and Rowan now," along with a gif of a crying child, but later clarified with a follow-up tweet that said, "Braun never left." It'll be interesting to see how Brodie Lee does in his new role, as he's graduated from being in a stable to leading his own, and things certainly look bright for the former Luke Harper. We've got more AEW news now, as this week's show was filmed without a live crowd in the Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida, which made for a very unique atmosphere. One person who didn't appreciate the setting was Colt Cabana, who defeated Brandon Cutler during the Dark Match tapings but didn't enjoy the show. According to Wrestling Inc., the Cabana-Cutler match had to be stopped at several points and reshot, and their sources have said that Cabana was visibly frustrated during the match. It's understandable why the Art of Wrestling podcast host might get upset, as stopping in the middle of a match to reshoot has to throw off a wrestler's momentum. These are stressful times for everyone right now, and the most important thing that people can do is try and keep calm, as this situation will hopefully be over sooner rather than later. Back to WWE now, and this week's edition of SmackDown saw quite a few big returns during the 2 hours. Not only did Paige return to the blue brand to announce the SmackDown Women's Championship match for WrestleMania, but the show also saw Universal Champion Bill Goldberg appear ahead of his title match in April. Appearing at the Performance Center, Goldberg and Roman Reigns signed the contracts to make their match official, and the segment ended with a stare-down between the two heavyweights. Not only did Goldberg and Paige appear, but this week's episode also saw Rob Gronkowski have an interaction in the ring. As the guest host for WrestleMania 36, Gronk appeared alongside his real-life good friend Mojo Rawley and advocated for a match between Baron Corbin and Elias at WrestleMania. It's almost certain that this match will be added to the card now that Gronk has mentioned it on SmackDown, and time will tell what else Gronk will do on the road to the most unique WrestleMania of all time. Speaking of SmackDown, this week's show saw Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura take on Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak, but there was a big change for the Swiss Superman and the King of Strong Style. After months of being aligned with the new Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn, the trio has finally been given a name, as the stable is now being referred to as the Artist Collective. Hopefully this new name means that we'll soon be getting some merchandise for the trio, but this fancy new moniker wasn't enough to save them this week, as Bryan and Gulak defeated Cesaro and Nakamura in a highly entertaining tag team match. And finally today, we're looking at the third person in the ring, as whether fans notice them or not, referees have an incredibly big responsibility in WWE. In WWE, the most senior official is Charles Robinson, who's been donning the ref's shirt since his time in WCW, and while speaking to Sean Mooney this week, Little Nate revealed a new edict by Vince McMahon. In the past, referees were supposed to keep counting to 10 if a wrestler was on the outside, but according to a new rule backstage, refs should hold up the count at 8, because they've realized that a wrestler won't be making it back to the ring in time. It'll be interesting to see if this rule will be noticeable on WWE TV, and we'll certainly be looking out for a lot more countout finishes in the coming months.